All right. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Coach Eddie Hamilton coming back at you with another episode of the Coach's Code. We're excited about this next interview that we have. Very excited about this next gentleman right here from the beautiful city of Shreveport, Louisiana. We got a chance to meet each other some years ago, and we mostly kind of interact on social media and see each other in places when he was home. But we both have built a mutual respect for each other, man. And I felt it very, very necessary to give him an opportunity to come and be a part of what we're doing here with our clinic. And so I'm very, very excited to have him. And so again, you see the flyer there, the inaugural Coach's Code Coaching Clinic, Empowering Coaches, Enriching Lives, on March 29th, 2025, from 9 to 3 here at the beautiful Centenary College at the Gold Dome in Shreveport, Louisiana. You can see the registration link there, eddiehamilton.com/clinic registration. Gonna have breakfast for you, gonna have lunch. Also have a gift that you can see there, the books that I've written, the Complete Coach and the Complete Coach Workbook all comes with that package. And so this is a very non-traditional coaching clinic, man. It's not about X's and O's. It's not for basketball or football coaches, for all coaches of team sports, elementary, middle school, high school, college. This is everything that goes around coaching. Nothing has nothing to do with the X's and O's, man. The X's and O's is the easy part, but we want to focus on prioritizing the well-being of coaches while we are helping student athletes get prepared to thrive on and off the field, on and off the court. So, just to let you all know where the Coach's Code came from, if you look here, this is my framework, the Coach's Code framework. C is coach with purpose. O is optimize team dynamics. And then also drive success through well-being and empower through modeling. My career about 10 years ago, probably over 10 years ago, took a turn, where I got challenged with who I was as a person, my character. And I believe that the Lord gave me something to download, something inside of me. And it turned into the Coach's Code. I've been able to, I'm an author now, since the last time y'all saw me. And also now I'm starting to do these clinics. And so without any further ado, I'm going to get ready to jump right in and bring this gentleman to you right here, Coach Chad Lewis. Very, very, very excited to have him here. And we're going to jump right in and get him started, all right? All right, here we go. Coach Lewis, man, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm good, man. How's it going on, Coach?
Man, doing well, man. It's we're on spring break here in Shreveport. I know y'all still in school where you at, and but it's funny. It's funny though because I'm not getting any rest. Time has changed. Still trying to get things together for the clinic and doing other things, man. But ultimately, it's cool, man. So what are y'all up to your way right now? What's going on up there in Little Rock, Arkansas?
No, right now, kind of getting in that grind of getting into spring football.
Okay.
Trying to get the kids' mindset, switched over from, different sports that they've been in during the wintertime, wrestling and basketball. Got a few kids still running track and playing baseball. So, that's perfectly fine. I'm a big proponent of being multiple sport athletes. So like I said, we just trying to get these kids ready. We got a lot of freshman kids moving up to sophomores, so we want to get their minds engraved and trained to how the culture that we're trying to set over here at Southwest.
Oh man, sounds good to me. Well, we're gonna jump right on in, and what I'm gonna do is give you a moment in time, man. This is what I'm gonna start off with. Like I said, thank you for joining us. And what I want to do is let's talk about your journey into coaching and education. What inspired you to take this path? I know it's rare that I meet people in our profession that say, I've always wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're very, very interested to hear your journey into coaching and education and what inspired you.
All right. So I think the coaching part of me has always been there. I grew up a big time Grambling and Eddie Robinson fan. I will record the Bayou Classic every year. And I'll watch that game from year to year. I probably watch it 10, 15 times. drew up every play that they ran, and from both teams, defenses. So I've always had a playbook from like at 7 or 8 years old. But they got to high school, played ball, of course. Didn't play ball in college. Was a business major, finance major. Actually, I started off in marketing, and then I asked my brother. I have an older sibling, so I asked my brother because he's always been in business. I said, "Hey, man, what part of business I need to go into?" He was like, "Well, it's either finance or human resources." And he's like, "But bro, you need to go into math, teaching math, and you coach football." I said, "Hey, Mike, man, I'm not trying to teach no math. I ain't trying to do nothing with education." He like, "Man, we need more black male math teachers, blah blah. All the good talk." I like,
Yeah.
man, I ain't trying to hear that, Mike. So got out of college, got my finance degree, started working at Tower Loan. Lady came in, she was a school teacher. She came in trying to get a loan, but then she said, "You know what? You should teach math, and we need more black male coaches and stuff like that." And I was like, man, my brother told me this 4 years ago. And so I kind of went home, thought about it a little bit. And when I saw her about 2 weeks later, I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And I started going to school at Louisiana Tech, getting my certification, my alternative certification. That was in 2006. And I've been rolling, teaching math and all these different subjects ever since then. So and it's been a very pleasurable thing to do. Education ain't for everybody. You gotta have that patience. But I really do enjoy it. Kids are kids, no matter what school you go to, whether it's the best schools or the worst schools. Kids gonna do kid stuff. So like I said, I've enjoyed this journey from Shreveport to Baton Rouge to New Orleans, back to Baton Rouge, back to Shreveport, now in the Little Rock area. It ain't a whole lot of people that can say they've moved around and been in a lot of areas like I have. Like I said, just all these different places, no matter where, the kids are still the kids, still the same.
Yeah. So with all those different experiences, that is a lot of moving around. I mean, and it's pretty typical. That's not something that's rare, when it comes down to, coaching. So I mean, what have the experiences at those different schools, have you seen your coaching philosophy change, stay the same, little modifications? Like, how has it shaped your overall coaching philosophy from the beginning up to this point?
When you came, my mindset of moving kids is going to be the same. The structure, the organization, all of that it's always there. I had that when I started coaching under Mike Suggs at Bird, and I got that from him. And so, I kept that throughout the entire time. But how you reach kids kind of has changed over the years. Okay. Yes, kids, they're still going to do kid thing, but kids have so many more avenues that they can go about now. They have so many more things that they have to worry about now. When I was coming, we were coming up, we may have to worry about where a meal may come from, but mama didn't make us have to go do certain things, go get a job and stuff like that to get those meals. Mama and dad made sure that they did whatever they needed to do to try to make sure that we were fed. So we have to reach the kids a little bit differently. So those are some things that have changed over my time. Learn, can't treat every kid the same. When we came up, coaches just coach. They didn't care. They talk to every kid the same that way. But now I got to know, okay, I got to coach little Johnny through Bill. I can get on Bill's case, but I'm coaching little Johnny but I'm talking to Bill. It's just those little nuances of things that you have to learn to deal with and how to reach kids. Because otherwise, and you have to change with time. I was thinking the other day, just about the shot clock thing. A lot of basketball coaches don't want shot clocks in high school. I'm a proponent of it because we have it here in Arkansas. And then, my thing is, if you're a coach, you're going to change with time. You're going to adjust to whatever you need to adjust to. So that's just my mindset. How can I change and how can I adjust to make sure. The one thing about life that can always be certain is death, taxes, and change. And so, and you gotta. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with being at this place and being at this place. And that's how the last 6 years or so of my life. That's how I've lived. And
Yeah.
everything I do is through God anyway. I ask Him to guide my steps, and whatever He placed in my mind and my heart, that's how I'm guided to coach my kids and stuff like that.
That's cool, man. Death, taxes, and change. You ain't lying about that. But you know what? It's crazy though, because it takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of humility to be willing to do that. I mean, it's oh my God, man. It's like trying to figure out how to keep your foundation the same while you remodeling your house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
it is, but it's amazing. Like I said, coaches, we have so many different things we have to juggle, have to figure out when it comes down to sticking with our philosophy or making adjustments. And so, like I said, with you working in different schools, different areas of the country, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something different that you have to do with every stop. And and even right now, with you being in a position that you are, like for people that don't know, he's the head coach at Southwest High School, a school in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's a new school.
Yeah.
We talking about a guy from Louisiana who moved about 4 hours away from home, to a place and getting the opportunity to be a head coach at a new school. Like, that's a big deal. That's a real big. That means something that something about you spoke to them to say, hey, this is the man to come in and do this job. So it's pretty cool, man. So speaking of changing and shifting, now I didn't know this until I saw your bio. Okay, so I'm looking at this and it says that you own a tutoring and document service. All right, CW23. So that's interesting. So you're a coach, athletic director, teacher, husband, father, and a business owner.
And I play drums at the church too now, so.
And play drums at church. Gotta throw it at man. Billy, I know that I play piano at the church since I was 12 years old, and drums since I was 8. So I know, man, how do you juggle? Like, what is it, your formula on how you juggle all those things? Because one of the things as coaches, I think we use the word balance wrong, because I think that when we're living, I think you're balancing things, but there's never a perfect balance. I just think as you prioritize things, it just shifts. It's a constant shift as you're prioritizing what's in front of you. So for you, what is it that, I guess say your secret or the keys that you do to juggle all these different things that's going on in your life?
Man, so the tutoring thing, I tutor a little bit during the season, not as much. Because the football is a grind, and here, we got freshmen, we got JV, we got varsity games, trying to also go look at middle school games and stuff like that. So don't try to do as much tutoring during the week. If I do tutoring, it's on the weekend. But I set, hey, these are the days I tutor. Like right now, I only tutor on Monday nights and Tuesday nights. So, when I get home, from practice or from school or workout, whatever we had that day, what I do is, okay, I'm in the living room, playing with the baby, talking to the wife for about 2 hours. Then I get in, then I go take care of my tutoring and tutor those kids. I don't tutor on Wednesdays anymore, but that's church night. That's where I go play. Got choir rehearsal. Thursdays I don't do any tutoring anymore, and Fridays I don't do any tutoring anymore. I try to make sure that those 2 days are for the family. So we may go out to eat or something, or we just might sit at the house and watch a movie together or something like that. Even when I was when I first got into coaching, I always made Thursday night date night with my wife. We don't get to do it as much because we have a young baby now, but that's what we tried to do back then. But I try to make sure that I'm available at least a couple hours when I get home. And so now when I get into the document, because I create coaching portfolios for guys and stuff like that. So what I do is, or I get home after when I know they're about to get into bed, okay, they finna go to sleep. I might have to stay up to 12, 1 o'clock, taking care of whatever else I need to take care of within the business. Or if it's something, with the football, because everything can't get done from when you get here at 8:30 to
Yeah.
3:30.
Yeah.
This is a business you have to take stuff home sometimes. And I wish I didn't have to. Now I don't do a whole as much education part.
Mm-hmm.
The math stuff, I try not to do as much of that at home now as I used
Okay.
to.
Okay.
A lot of the math assignments I give now are self-graded, so I don't have to spend a whole lot of time grading papers and stuff like that. They do it online and they get instant feedback.
Yeah.
So those are some things that, again, adjustments and changes through, okay, what can I do to make my job easier? When you're teaching, all these different subjects, and when you're doing this and doing that, what can I do to make my job easier as a teacher? Okay, that was one of them. Have some self-graded assignment where the computer will grade itself. And then like I said, there are times I gotta stay up and gotta stay up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning to get some things done, and then have to work and try to function back off, 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Because I try to get up by 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning. No matter what time I go to bed, I'm trying to be up ready to roll. 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And for the most part, I do it. There's some time I'm gonna hit that snooze button and later at about 6:30,
I
gonna be
hit it a
rushing
lot.
to get to where I need to get to. But for the most part, I'm up. So and I've learned if you want something, you gotta go get it.
Yeah.
And as a black man in this country, ain't nothing gonna be handed to me. So I know whatever I want to achieve, I gotta make some sacrifices for myself to go get it. So if that means I gotta sacrifice and only get 3 or 4 hours of sleep every night to get to where I need to get to, I'm gonna do it. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to be successful. I'm trying to leave, a good legacy for my son and my daughter. And so they can live with their sons and daughters and stuff like that. And they'll know, hey, Chad was Uncle Chad, Grandpa Chad, whatever, was a great man. He worked his butt off, So, those are the things I try to do to try to balance everything. My phone is my best friend. If you look, I got a master schedule for my tutoring. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And I share that note to my wife. I have a to-do list. Okay, these things that got to be done, and I check it off and stuff like, so that's where the organization has to be on point. When the organization is not on point, that's when you're going to fail. So, I've been able to do those things pretty successfully. I couldn't have gotten to where I'm at if I wasn't, hadn't done those things. So, so that's how I've kind of maintained, trying to juggle so many hats. I interviewed for a job in Baton Rouge one time, and that's what the principal said. He said, "Man, how do you juggle so much?" I said, "Man, I just do it." She got it done. I know it had to get done. So, especially when I was an assistant, because my job as an assistant, it made the head coach look good. So I'm gonna do it all I can to make sure he looks good. So I juggled those hats to make sure that he was successful as possible.
Yeah, man, that's cool, man. It's crazy because you think about it. I mean, you really can't put a monetary value on what we do.
You can't,
even though we know, we are underpaid. You know what I'm saying, for what we do, because you think about this. Would you actually have started this company if you were making, and I'm just throwing the number out, if you was making $150,000 a year, you know what I'm saying, to do what you're doing, would you have taken the time to make, to start the company? Because obviously it's not just only that you say, well, I want to tutor and I want to do resumes. This was something else to funnel finances into my household. You know what I'm saying? So, so with that, when, was the motivation financial, or was it purely from the standpoint of I want to offer this service, to others, or was it just a blend of both?
The kind of a blend of both. The tutoring kind of came about because I wasn't trying to tutor. but I'm not going to tutor at school. I didn't
Yeah.
want to tutor at school. And so I had some people reach out to me, and was able to kind of build my tutoring clientele. I got kids. I tutor kids in Baton Rouge right now, tutor kids in Shreveport, all over
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, tutor kids in Texas. So I
Wow.
kind of
Wow.
been able to kind of word of mouth. Hey, he good, he good, he good, he's good, and it just kind of spread like wildfire. And kind of have to take a step back on the tutoring part. The coaching, the document, the resumes, and the portfolios, it kind of just happened.
Okay.
And I actually think I undervalued myself when I first started doing it. Cause I wasn't doing it for as much. And I did
Okay.
it for a guy. He played NFL. He played NFL ball. He's from the Little Rock area. And I did his portfolio for him. He ended up getting a job. He said, "Chad, you need to charge more." Like, he
Okay.
told me I need to charge more, and I'm like, okay. So I upped my prices a little bit, but I'm not trying to bust nobody's head in it
Yeah.
because I didn't have all of the resources and the help when I was starting coaching. It was kind of me and Chris Wilson
Yeah.
throwing ideas off of each other all the time, texting each other and calling each other. Hey, what you think about this? What you think about this? And we still do that to this day. And it's been 16 years in the game now.
Yeah.
Just kind of throwing stuff off of each other. And
Wow.
now it's like, okay, how can I help the next brother out that wants to get into the coaching game? And so that's where it kind of grew to for me. I will probably still do it.
Yeah.
Just because I want people to be successful. And then I see some guys, they do it, and I mean, they are charging a gang of money, the guy in Georgia and the guy in California, and I've gotten a lot of ideas from them too. And I paid a little bit to get some of that stuff. But I see what they have done, and it's pretty much their business, so maybe at some point I could get it to that level. I don't think enough of myself to brand myself the way I needed to. Cause
Okay.
I have some stuff like, Chad, you need to sell your playbook. I guess so. And so, and I got people telling me this, and I'm sitting there like, you know what? Maybe I need to go ahead and get into this myself.
Man, I tell you, man, I don't know what. Let's see, what didn't happen to me? I done hit my camera. Oh, there we go. Let me see. That's the other camera. Let me get the right one back on here while we talking. But
Okay.
but yeah, man, I like that. And I guess when I sit here and when I just sit here and think about what you're saying, I recently, myself, went through an interview process, and I didn't know this was your business when I reached out to you, and then of course I took what you gave me and created my own, and then you were looking like, say, bro, that's nice. Hey, you might want to add me on your team. I could be the one to go on and add the last piece.
Hey, I got you.
Hey, man, look, somebody send it to you, get it together.
Hey, we all
go in there and do my magic. Look, we always networking, man, looking for a hustle.
That's it.
Yeah, man. So, but that's cool, man. I love that. I love that, man, because even with everything that you already are doing, you're still willing to serve in a different capacity. You know what I'm saying? And I think even for me, even having a conversation with you, and I had a conversation with Coach Stevens, and I have other conversations going on. Like, I'm in learn mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in learn mode because after 20 years, I have had some moments here where I even question. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, like, what am I doing? But ultimately, man, it's like, this is what my heart is. And anything else that's going on outside of that, I just got to make it work. Like you said, just got to make it work, man. So, man, I appreciate you sharing that because, all of us coaches, man, we all got so much going on, and people really don't care. They honestly don't care.
No, they don't. They don't.
So that's why my mission is to help coaches prioritize their own personal well-being. We gotta make sure that that's a priority, and it's not just your physical health; it's your mental health. It's the health between you and your family, whatever your dynamic is. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that's healthy. You know, whether it's your church, serving in your church, your community, whatever those things are, man, we got to make sure we're in a healthy place. Otherwise, when we're trying to give out of an empty cup, man, we're wearing ourselves out. Like we wearing ourselves out, and that's why having this clinic is so important to being able to bring attention to that and get us to understand that, man, look, you got to say no. You can't be the end all be all for every child that you're coaching. You gotta learn how to draw the line and the boundaries. And it's going to take us to our next segment here that we're going into. And so you're going to be sitting on a panel with other coaches. And that topic is going to be overcoming, modern coaching challenges. Okay. And so with that right now, what are some things that you've already kind of shared a little bit, especially when you was talking about being able to learn how to handle kids differently in different situations, paying attention to the signs, seeing what's going on, learning a little bit more about our kids, because we can't give them all the same, type of attention. It's all different. And, so with that, what are some other challenges that you see coaches deal with today that we don't talk enough about in our own safe space? What's one or two things off the top of your head, like, man, we need to talk about this more?
I think another is making sure you don't put yourself in bad situations, as far as not necessarily job wise, but with other people.
Okay.
Allowing them to, always there is a line that you can have where, okay, we're cool, we're friends. But then there's also you still gotta maintain that professional line. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that a lot of coaches have fell in. I think they also fell in that when they're dealing with dealing with kids. I tell mine all the time, at the end of the day, I'm still Coach Chad Lewis. Mm-hmm. I ain't homeboy Chad Lewis. I tell them all the time, I don't have very many friends under 30 years old. Most of mine, matter of fact, most of mine 35 and up. And one thing I try to do is tell a lot of our younger coaches, especially, make sure you keep that balance of line, that line balance. And, don't let them cross over into that, okay, we're friends, because what end up happening is, when it's time to be the disciplinarian, they don't accept it.
That's right.
Whereas now they know, okay, Coach Lewis, he'll laugh with us, he'll tell a joke with us. But when it's time to get to the nitty gritty and grind and be about business, okay, we know Coach Lewis is gonna drop that hammer when he get ready to drop that hammer. So those are the things, boundaries. Coaches got to make sure they learn how to keep those boundaries. They don't tell you that a lot. They don't tell. I think coaches need to also understand, getting into the job, every place ain't for you. I think the very first job I took as a head coach, it was because I just really wanted to be a head coach. And now I've established some great friends from that. I'm glad I went, because I got some guys from that school that they're like brothers with me now. When we get together, it's like we've been around each other every day for the last 2 or 3 years. But every job ain't the job that you need to take. I'm not saying stray away from it. Some people want that challenge, and that's fine. Take that challenge if you want it. But also understand the struggles that may go on with that job, no matter whatever the sport is, because you might be fighting the losing battle no matter what, and you don't want to get in a situation where you set yourself back where you can't get to the next place.
Yeah.
You know, don't get so caught up in the wins and losses sometimes,
Okay.
because sometimes a small win is going from a roster of 20 to a roster of 50. That's a small win.
Believe me.
People don't understand that. That's a win for
Yeah.
that program. Because again, the school I was at, there was a 5A school in Louisiana. It had 1,700 kids, but 80% of the kids were Hispanic. They never had more than 30 kids. When I got there, I got the roster up to 60. But we were
Wow.
still playing teams that had 80 to 100.
Right.
So those small victories are things that you got to be able to take with it as well. So those are some things that I think that they got to work. A lot of coaches need to learn a little bit more. I encourage any young coach, get a mentor. I'm here to mentor anybody, whatever you need, whatever piece of advice. I have found myself speaking more into a lot of Facebook groups about a lot of different things. I've had the pleasure of being an AD, being a head coach, been an offensive coordinator. Pretty much my whole career since 2014. So I think I have a lot of knowledge to pass on. So get yourself a mentor, and learn from that mentor. Ask questions, so that way you can grow, because if you're not growing, you're setting yourself back as well. My coaching role model is Eddie Robinson. And, when he was 70 years old, he's still going to coaching clinics and learning. And so if Eddie Robinson can do that at 70, why can't Chad Lewis do that at 40? Why can't Joe Blow do that at 25?
That's right.
Don't think you know it all, because I don't. I'm always trying to learn from somebody and learn something.
Got to. I mean, that's amazing. I love that, man. And those are things that kind of go without saying. We don't talk about that enough. But it's definitely something that we have to be intentional about, these different challenges that we have. Mentorship is something I feel like the young coaches today that's coming up, they don't care. Like how you said, you knew you had Eddie Robinson there that you looked up to. Me, I can go down the line. Probably my number one, he passed away a couple of years ago. Dave Bryant. I'm now working at his school. Man, when I tell you, we talked almost every day, and it always wasn't about basketball. You know what I'm saying? Because we're husbands, we're fathers, we got all these different things that we have to juggle around. But having access to somebody that you can talk to about this life, and making sure our motives are pure. Because I can tell you, man, there are times that it's a thin line when we're doing this job to make sure our motives stay pure. Because, man, we're still human. I mean, we can get self-centered too, and if we can become selfish and start thinking about things for ourselves. And I know I'm definitely guilty of that. But I learned a lot of lessons over the time to keep myself in check for the most part, man. So I guess keep on moving forward in that direction. I mean, so what role does your faith play in navigating the highs and lows of your coaching and leadership? Like when it comes, because we talk faith, it's easy for people to say they're Christians today. It's very, very easy. But actually living that life is different. It just is. And it's something that very, very cliche. Even myself talking about me, know I'm a Christian, know I love the Lord Jesus, but then I had some low points in my life where I didn't exemplify that. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm a human being. And so what role does your faith play in navigating the highs and lows in your coaching and your leadership?
So I've always been in the church, grew up in the church, sang choir, played drum, directed, all of that, just the usher, everything. When I left Shreveport the first time in 2017, matter of fact, March 13th, 2017, I left Shreveport kind of angry because passed over for some jobs that I thought I should have gotten
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I vowed I'll never come back to Shreveport.
Wow.
Uh, I said, me and my wife, because she's always kind of wanted to leave Shreveport, and I was like, no, I want to try to do the best I can for my hometown, my community. And when that situation happened, it was kind of like, you know what, I'm done. I'm never going back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, end up going to Baton Rouge, and I tell people all the time now that was the best move I ever made in my life.
Okay.
Because when we got down there, I had a cousin there, we had a friend there from, that I grew up with at La Union. But it was just me and my wife. And so we learned to, one, depend on each other, but really, and then also together depend on God. And so it kind of really started touching my mind, started applying the job, and I was getting a lot of no's. And then I kind of just sat back and I said, hold on, Chad, stop. I said, and I thought back to what a guy told me before when I left. He said, God, probably, you may not have prayed like you should have for the job, but God probably protected you from something that you didn't know you were being protected from.
There we go.
And so when I sat back and I thought about that, it changed my mindset on how I approach jobs. So when I started applying for other jobs, my prayer was, if it ain't for me, I won't even get a call. I don't even want a call to say, hey, you interviewed. It's just how I kind of got to. And so I'm gonna tell you how much my faith really played into it. I interviewed for a job, and I got the job. And they asked, but one of the questions they always ask, how long do you plan on being here?
Mm-hmm.
And the Holy Spirit just touched me and said, tell them this. As long as God allows me to stay here, that's how long I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
And when I said that, that kind of blew them away a little bit too. I don't encourage anybody to say that when they go in the job interview. But it kind of blew them away a little bit, and he was like, I never had an answer like that. And I got the job 2 days later. Every job I do, if I'm prepared to apply for it, I'm gonna go. I talk to God about it, and I ask for clarity. If I'm unsure about it, I can't apply for it.
Yeah.
But if I'm sure about it, like that's the one I want.
Yeah.
And I pray to God about it. He'll kind of direct me to just go ahead and take your fingers and start typing up that resume and send that application through. So that's, my faith is huge in what I do.
Yeah.
They tell us don't pray with the kids. I ain't gonna lie, I pray. Play with my kids. Because so many of them don't see a male figure. They don't see a male figure that's dominant, that is humble enough to talk to God. So my thing is, whatever they see me do, that's what'll help them in their lives. So I take that bullet. Worst, if they say, hey, we gotta let you go, I ain't gonna lie, okay. Let me go. I'll go work at a Christian school then. They don't mind praying at a Christian school. So yeah, my faith is huge in what I do. And I'm not naive enough to know that everything I've been able to accomplish in my life is because He has allowed me to accomplish it. I know at the drop of a hat, He can snap His finger and everything I've done and everything I got is gone. So I try to, and that's where self-reflection comes in too. I told my kids a lot last season. You gotta look in that mirror and self-reflect. And like you said, make sure that everything that you're doing is pure to what you're trying to accomplish. Allow my selfishness to come out of me and allow it to be about what they want, what the kids need, and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's cool, man. I love that. It's it is crazy. Like I said, they say that if the kids pray, it has to be student led.
Yeah.
We got to be, cognizant of, those different things when we're leading our programs, man. And I know when I changed parishes, and like I said, I just say that when I changed parishes, we used to pray before the game with the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my other parish.
Yeah.
And when I got here, it was such a, to this other one, it was such this big ruckus, about the prayer. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Now that I think about it, I wonder if there was compromise on my part. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go back and rethink that. I really do. Just hearing you say what you say about, like, look, if this is not what they want me to do, and I understand the Bible does say obey the laws of the land. It does say that. Yeah. But at the same time, we have examples of
Daniel never, even though they told him that he had to bow to the king, Daniel never bowed. So we gotta kind of look at it that same way as well. And then I've also been blessed, especially here. The pastor that church I play at, and then the pastor that my sister's church. They kind of they work with me and they help me too, and they both kind of like my chaplains on my team. So they kind of help with to navigate that thing too. But we gonna pray. We gonna get that prayer in. And I have some kids that are learning to pray, and they are taking it upon themselves too, so that shows the thing that I've done, the thing that I'm not allowing myself to bend on. Also, it's reflecting to them, and they're seeing it, and now they're able to take what I'm doing and say, okay, let me apply it to me. Let me do it now. Hey, coach, can I do it? Can I play the prayer? And if they get to struggling, okay, I help them, because I want them to be able to understand and have that confidence to do it as well. So like I said, I'm not really much willing to bend on that, because again, at the end of the day, this wouldn't be without them. And so I gotta serve them. I gotta give them the praise, all the glory, all the honor. In everything I do. So that's just me. That's just how I do it.
Well, hey man, but that's why. But think about it. That's why we're having the clinic, to bring these perspectives in, to bring these mindsets, to help each other see differently. Because a lot of times we go to clinics as X's and O's. When I go there, every coach there gonna talk about what defense, what they run, what offense they run. And the truth is, it might be one thing I can take away from that clinic. One thing. Even though I sit there all day long, it might be one thing that I can actually apply. And so with having this conversation, this gives some insight on what some things that can be expected with coming in. And I'll use that to kind of just go ahead and move on, as we get ready to close. Okay, it's like expectations for the clinic. Like for you, what are you looking forward to most, with the clinic that I believe the Lord placed on my heart to do? What are you looking forward to sharing most, and what any specific insights or experiences you think that can resonate with attendees? Like, so what are you looking to share? What are you looking forward to share? And then, what experiences do you think that probably will be able to resonate with the attendees that come to the clinic?
I think for me, the experience is my journey. A lot of these young guys, they want it right now. They want to be head coach right now. And I started off as an assistant middle school coach, football wise, basketball, track. Then was assistant freshman coach. Then moved up to head freshman coach. Then moved up to varsity receivers coach. Then went on to be offensive coordinator a couple places, went to head coach. Then back to offensive coordinator, then head coach again. Then just regular position coach for a year. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so and then back as the head coach again. So my journey has been, leadership. Finally able to get into semi leadership as a coordinator, then as leadership as a head coach. But then I had to step back again. You know,
Yeah.
So again, that's that adjustment that I had to learn how to make. In myself. So sharing my journey and letting people know, if you work and you grind, the opportunities will come. Uh, and then also just trying to share, again, like you said, and not necessarily about the X and O's. Sometimes we got to share what we do to make sure that we don't get ourselves so burnt out and so tired that you can't coach anymore. Being able to go home and say everything, baby, today I'm not doing nothing with football. I'm not doing nothing with school. It's just about you and me. I know I don't. Again, I don't know I don't do it as much as I probably should, but I have them days, or have them days where you say, okay,
Right.
I may have to take today off from work just to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta do it. Because they say don't take these days off. But at the end of when you get ready to retire, they don't want to pay you for your days. Man, I
ain't saving my days.
But I'm gonna take a few of them days just to be at home. I'm gonna send my son to daycare. My wife gonna go to work. I'm just gonna be at home by myself. But you gotta do that. Though.
Yes.
You have to.
Yeah.
You gotta have that peace time. You gotta know how to have that peace time for just you. Because if you don't have that peace time where it's just you, sometimes, man, I sit at home and I'm at home. I may not turn on the TV. I may not have a podcast. I might be doing something, but I have nothing on. It's just me and whatever I'm doing in my thinking. Because sometimes your thinking can get clouded with a lot of other stuff. So sometimes you just gotta sit there and just say, hey, it's just me. I've been in a car when I worked in New Orleans. Man, I drove back and forth from Baton Rouge to New Orleans every day. And there were times, man, I'm driving that bridge to get to Baton Rouge, driving over Pontchartrain. I'm just looking at the airplane drive. I don't have no music on, I ain't talking to nobody on the phone, I'm just looking at the airplanes. And that was just my peace time that I had. So everybody, gotta have that, so those are the things that I wanna help people with. And then, how can you, again, like you said, how can I move in my career? Even though I want it right now, I got to learn to be patient. So those are the things I want to be able to help people with, and learn as they grow in the coaching game.
That's cool, man. I love that. I love that, man. You answered some other questions already, and I like that you took the time, because I'm gonna tell you, man, that mentality of what they say, sleepers for the rich, and basketball. Basketball or football is life, and what I'm saying, no days off. We say all of that stuff. We say all of that stuff, and man, if even something like let's talk about scholarships for kids. Let's talk about that. And I'm not going to stay there. I'm just going to talk about that. Less than 2% of high school athletes in America get full scholarships to play sports in school.
Yep.
Less than 2%. So if that's the case, and we're trying to get millions of kids that all think that they're the next guy to make it to the college level, nothing wrong with having dreams and aspirations. We got to give them a reason to learn work ethic besides just the end goal of being an athlete at the next level. I try to give that to my kids because this is the type of person you are.
Yeah.
You're learning if whatever you're committed to, your family, your job, your career, your church, your community, all those different things, what you're learning in our program is the character traits that's going to translate to all of that. So that means if you have talent with the character traits, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. Now, it might not look the way you thought it was going to look. We have examples right here of guys who had to go to one level, transfer to another level. You know, like that happens. And I go back to say that, man, it's like, and I'm going back to us as coaches, we have to be very, very careful about how we're pushing kids with sports. It has to be more, you know, to why we want them to work as hard as they work. People ask me, especially when I was at Fair Park, how do you get your kids to play so hard? That was our thing. Before we started like winning, it was like, how do you get them to play so hard? Because we didn't talk about basketball.
Yeah.
We talked about their manhood. That's what we talked about. And that was what I challenged them. What kind of person are you? Do you want to be labeled that kid's lazy? He's not dependable. He's not reliable. You see what I'm saying? We had to dig into things deeper than that translates into all parts of the life. And that's why, you know, my brand statement is helping coaches prioritize well-being while helping student athletes thrive on and off the court or field. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, so I think that's the thing I'm looking forward to most. And I'm glad to have somebody like yourself along with the rest of the panel to help get that message across, because, man, we got coaches that are getting beat up. We got coaches that are getting their cars vandalized. We have coaches that have gotten killed. And we have coaches that are quitting the profession because of false narrative that's being built. And I want to tell you, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for what you do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, people really don't care about us. They can say whatever they want to. And I say that in a general statement. You know what I'm saying? Because even myself, I've had a couple kids who brought me gifts. Thanks, coach. Appreciate you, coach. You know, so I discount that. I'm just talking about it as a general, you know, because people want the end result of winning a title. And, you know, we want it too. Nobody wants it more than we do. That's why we do the job. So, man, but I do, man. I appreciate you, man. And thank you for what you do, man. Before we close out for the night, I think that if you can think of one thing, one piece of advice to a coach who's struggling to find balance and prioritizing their well-being, and I think you probably have already shared it, but I want to go back and highlight. What's one thing that you want to be a takeaway from us talking about overcoming modern coaching challenges today?
If you're trying to find that balance of being the well-being, man, get yourself organized. I just organization.
Okay.
It's crazy. I've been in places I was so organized. I think the principal in AD hated me because that's just me though. Again, like I said, I work under Suggs at Bird, and when I say everything, every minute, every this and that was sold, it was to the dotted, to the T, every T crossed, every I dotted, and it just kind of just kept on. It resonated with me, and I kind of used that to not only coaching, but just life in general. You know, make that time. Okay, Thursday is that day. When I leave the school, I'm not doing anything else. Thursday is my, you know. So you gotta be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very, gotta make sure that that's what you're trying to do. Like you gotta go out there and say, I'm going to make this work for this time. Because if you don't, you know, if you kind of, okay, well, I'm gonna pick the day, but if it don't happen, it just don't happen. No, you gotta be very, say, this is what I want to do on Thursday. This is what I want to do on Saturday. Because if not, you'll just kind of go with the wind, and the wind will blow you from side to side, and you'll never find that balance again. You'll always be that tired person. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're not gonna have a moment where you're not gonna be tired. Because if you don't have those moments, you're not working hard. You're not putting in the effort to try to hone your craft and be better every day like you say you need to be. So you're going to have moments where you're tired. That's just part of it. But you gotta find a way to rejuvenate yourself. You gotta recharge. Because if that battery die in that car ain't going nowhere. If you ain't got no gas in that car ain't moving nowhere. You know, you can let it get to a quarter of a tank of gas, but you let that thing get past a quarter, it's gonna stop. You know, so your gas level is going to go down. And I'm not saying it's not. But I gotta find a way and make time to say, okay, let me go to the Shell station and fill up my car. You know, and so, you know, so those are the things that I just think really gotta make sure you do. And again, it's gonna be a struggle back and forth. It's gonna be sometimes you'll be perfect at it, and it's gonna be sometimes that you're not so perfect at it. But we're human. There's only one perfect person that's ever walked this earth. All right, he died on the cross over 2,000 years ago. So we strive for perfection, knowing that we'll never be perfect. You know, so you're gonna have those moments, but make the effort to make sure that I am getting what I need to make sure that my battery and my gas tank is still going up and up.
Yeah, I love that, man. I appreciate that. So organization, and even if you're not good, that's where a mentor comes in. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw my shameless plug in here. And also on my store that I had not released yet, my online store, I have ebooks and I have worksheets and downloads on season organization. Got all that stuff, man. Like all these things in place. And so, and these are the things that we want to help coaches to understand with this clinic. And like I said, just, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you for what you do, man. I'm glad I got a chance to meet you over the years. It's crazy because, like I said, we've always known each other kind of from a distance. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is, though, what I like is that over time, the intention with, you know, reaching out to each other and, you know, connecting on different things, you know, at this stage of my life, being 44 years old, man, I just find so much value when you have somebody that reciprocates intention. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily trying to force the issue. It's organic, but like I said, reciprocates intention, man. And so, man, I'm trying to continue cultivating this relationship as well as others. And man, look, bro, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, man. I thank you for your time. And before we close out here, like I said, another plug I'm gonna throw in right quick. I gotta always do this because this is something I'm learning to do this. All right, but I have to do this. Throw this up here. This right here is my book, The Complete Coach. Okay. I finished this back in October, and definitely want to throw this out here. This clinic that we're having is based off the principles in this book. This was birthed out of, at that time, it wasn't 20 years, so about, 16, 17 years of my career of being mentored and failing, succeeding, all of that, and so when you register for the clinic, you actually get a copy of this book and the workbook that goes along with that as a part of your registration. So again, y'all come out, man. Y'all come support the clinic on March 29th from 9 to 3. Make sure you're registered. And we're looking forward to seeing you there. So, Coach, man, you get some rest. All right. I think you got tutoring tonight, don't you?
9, so.
At 9 o'clock. So man, you go unwind a little bit and get ready for your session, man. And thank you for your time, Coach. Anytime you need a thing, man, don't hesitate, man. Looking forward to having you. All right, man. Until then, man, signing out. We'll see y'all next time.